Hi, and welcome to your Urban Connection. Remember, this is the channel that is often imitated, but is never duplicated. Now, I want to get right into this story because this is a show that I've been wanting to do for quite a while. But the events of the last 7 to 10 days have convinced me that I need to do this show right now. And this is a show about African American females being disrespected, shown disdain, and otherwise chastised in America. And I ask the question, when will African American females in the United States be afforded the respect and the dignity that they duly deserve? So that's our show. All right, now I'm going to show you what led me to get into this. And I'm going to put a picture up here. And I want to show you the latest victim of what I'm talking about here, who's been disrespected and uh, chastised, basically threatened by a attorney in Washington, D.C. by the name of Mike Davis. Now, Mike Davis is vying to be the new attorney general once Donald Trump takes office. And I want to tell you how disrespectful he was to the Attorney General of New York, who happens to be a black female, as you can see here. Uh, and well, first of all, let me just tell you, she is the one that prosecuted uh, Donald Trump for fraud about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and won a verdict of guilty. And as such, Donald Trump was ordered to pay $453 million. Now, the case, of course, was put on hold by the Supreme Court until after the election. Well, the election is over now. And I want to share with you the position of one Letitia James. And she is a strong black woman. Okay, she's not going to take any crap. And here's what she said. She says that her office is standing strong and they have been waiting for this day. And she said that her office uh, is willing to fight back President-elect Donald Trump using the rule of law, and said her office was preparing for months to counter Trump's coming to power. Donald Trump's ally, Mr. Mike Davis, then had this to say. He was on a Benny Johnson podcast, and he made these comments. I dare you to try to continue your lawfare against President Trump in his second term. Listen here, sweetheart. We're not messing around this time, and we will put your fat ass in prison for conspiracy against rights. Davis advised James to think long and hard before potentially violating the president-elect's constitutional rights or any other American's constitutional rights. Well, I have a few words for Mr. Davis. Sir, you have been licensed by the state, well, not the state, I guess, by Washington, D.C., and maybe by the state of New York, I'm not sure. But certainly you have to be aware of the fact that uh, Letitia James happens to be the highest law enforcement officer in the state of New York. She is doing what she was elected to do in a free and fair trial. Donald Trump was convicted after the evidence was shown to a jury. He was convicted. And as such, he was fined by a judge. And, sir, as an attorney, certainly you should know all of that. She was elected to prosecute any criminality that took place within her jurisdiction in the state of New York. Now, just because Donald Trump has been elected president, that because it's a state charge, not a federal charge, he cannot be pardoned. So Letitia James has every right in the United States and under the United States Constitution to follow through on this criminal case and see it to its end. And what that means is that Donald Trump, president or not, has to do as any other American citizen would do. And that is to admit responsibility, stand ready to face the consequences. And in this case, it means coughing up a whole bunch of money. Now, that should be no problem because Donald Trump always brags about how much money he has. And he makes every attempt to let you know that he's a rich man. All right? So, for you who has not been elected to anything, and you're nothing more, in my opinion, than a low-life attorney who should be disbarred for interfering in a case that you have no authority over. As of today, you have no authority over this case in the state or the Commonwealth of Washington, D.C. So you're way out of line, sir, and you're being disrespectful. And what you did was issue a vile threat to Letitia James, and it was disrespectful, it was immature, and it was almost criminal, sir. And if I were Letitia James, I would be writing a complaint to the National Bar Association as soon as I could put a pen to paper and put it in the mail to seek to have you disbarred from practicing law in any state in the United States, sir. You have shown yourself to be nothing more than a wannabe Trump MAGA attorney. And let me just tell you something. If you had any common sense, you would know that others that have come before you in that position have been disbarred, some have been sent to jail, and some are broke. And if you don't believe me, ask Rudy Giuliani. Okay? And there are a few others you can ask. All right? So be very careful, sir, of how you tread when you find yourself wanting to disrespect an African American female who has more integrity, okay? More integrity and more common sense and knowledge than you will ever possess. Now, let me put this picture of this man, Mike Davis, up here so you all can see him. This is the Mike Davis we speak of. And he is an attorney. And I would say, based on what I know so far, not a very smart one, And I don't know about how good he is, but I can tell you he's not nearly as good as he thinks he is. And regardless how good he might be, he's dumber than a rock. He's way out of line. But he's accustomed to following the other MAGAs who think that they can disrespect and disdain, show their disdain and their immaturity towards Black females in particular. They're easy targets. But this has to stop. And the way to stop it, I'm going to tell you, Black females, the way to stop this is you have to do it now because of the fact that I'm afraid after January 20th, it's going to get much worse. But you have to stop it. And there's two ways you can stop it. In this particular case, Mr., and I use that for lack of a better term, Mike Davis should be disbarred. He is a liability to the National Bar Association. He's an embarrassment to other lawyers in this country. Now, not only did he insult, disrespect, and show disdain for Miss James, he also said that he wants to see kids in cages after January 20th, should he be selected as the next Attorney General. That's right, kids in cages. And it doesn't stop there. He also said he wants to see dead bodies being dragged down the street like animals. And this is a licensed attorney. He certainly knows better, but he doesn't care because he thinks that Black females are second-class citizens, just as Rudy Giuliani did. And he thinks he can say anything to them and about them with no repercussions, just as Rudy Giuliani did. How's that working out for Rudy? Not very well. So, Mr. James, I would say to you, sir, get a life, get some education, get you some common sense, use your head, as my dad used to say, for something besides a hat rack, sir, and learn some respect. You are a lawyer, an attorney. So is Letitia James. And I'm sure that the license that was granted to you, sir, had a clause in there that you would not say anything degrading or disrespectful to another member of the bar. Because the last time I checked, she belongs to the very same bar that you do, the National Bar Association. So get a grip, sir. Okay? Your white privilege does have limitations. Okay? Now, let me go back to this Miss James, because I want to share something else. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I say that this has to be stopped. Because if you'll recall, the night before the election last Tuesday, the vice presidential candidate at that time, J.D. Vance, insulted another Black female by the name of Kamala Harris. And he said this: tomorrow we're going to take out the trash. And the trash is Kamala Harris. Now, JD is dumber than a rock also. And this is just one of the many things that he said during the campaign that was disrespectful, immature, and crazy about Kamala Harris. But you see, I don't expect anything better from J.D. Vance because J.D. Vance comes from trash. You see, his mother was a drug addict. That's how he was raised and who he was raised by. So he's talking about what he's seen. But he didn't see that in Kamala Harris. He just thought the fact that she was black and he considered her second class and he could disrespect her in any way he wanted to and get away with it. Because after all, the guy that he's running to be vice president to, he sat and watched that guy say ugly, vulgar, disrespectful, immature things, not only about Kamala Harris, but also about Maxine Waters, also about Omarosa, also about a female congressperson in Florida who happened to be black, and many other blacks, because he feels that blacks in particular, and black women especially, are second-class citizens. And he can show as much disrespect and disdain and immaturity and inhumanity and degradation as he chooses to and suffer no consequences. You see, that's why he's been found guilty of defamation, because he has these feelings that women, black and white, but in particular black, are less than him. And he can do anything to them, as he says, whether they like it or not, including grabbing them by the you know what, okay? And suffer no consequences. But this has to stop, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to send a message to you, black females, tonight, that you have to quit accepting this type of behavior as normal. You are not a second-class citizen. Most of you pay taxes, you work hard every day, you do all the things that any other normal American citizen in this country does. You deserve to be treated as such, not disrespected, not dehumanized, not have anyone show their disdain for you just because your skin happens to be black. Wake up. You must put a stop to this, and only you can do it. But you have to do it. You cannot continue to allow people, regardless of how much money they have, what their job title is, where they live, any of that. They don't have the right to insult your intelligence. They don't have a right to disrespect you as a woman, as a black woman, without repercussions. And I don't care what city, and I don't care what state you live in. Don't allow it to happen. Because if you do, you set up one of your sisters, whether they be bloods or racial, to be attacked, disrespected, dehumanized, degraded, just like you are allowing yourself to do. Enough is enough. This is 2024. This is not 1957, 58, or 59, or 60. You have rights. You have a voice. You have legal authority. And I want to tell you, some of you ladies need to get to know Gloria Allred, okay? And if you don't know who that is, then you look it up. Gloria Allred. Because Gloria Allred has made a living, and a very good one, I might say, by being the voice of women just like yourself who are being abused, disrespected, dehumanized, okay? And she's done that for a living for a long time. But she's not the only one. There are others out there that you can seek out. But don't sit by idly and continue to turn the other cheek, thinking that it's going to stop or it's going to go away. Because I'm here to tell you it is not. So do what you can do today or tomorrow or the next time that you find yourself being disrespected by somebody who thinks their white privilege gives them the authority to treat you as a second-class citizen, to treat you as a criminal. Now, we see this all the time, not only in our politics, ladies and gentlemen, but we see this in our police departments across the country. We see this on the jobs in these various manufacturing facilities and other places on a regular basis. We see this in our schools. We see the discrimination that young Black kids, in particular females, are subjected to on a regular basis. Let's put a stop to it, okay? And let's don't think about it. You know that I'm telling the truth. Wake up before it's too late. Okay? Okay, that's my show for tonight. And I want to say thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next go round. Take care.